breaking, very emotional. What BTS Jin never said. The unseen pain behind his smile. There is a smile that millions of people around the world recognize instantly. It is bright, disarming, and often accompanied by a laugh that sounds like a windshield wiper. It is the face of confidence, the self-proclaimed worldwide handsome. But behind the laughter of the man known as Jin, there was a silence that very few truly understood for a long time. To understand the depth of the oldest member of BTS, one must look past the jokes and the flying kisses. One must look at the boy who felt he was running a race he was never trained for. The story of Kim Seok-jin did not begin with a microphone in his hand. Unlike many of his peers in the K-pop industry, he was not a child prodigy who danced before he could walk. He did not spend his elementary school days writing rap lyrics in secret notebooks. He was a quiet student, acting as an ordinary young man who dreamt of becoming an actor. When he was scouted off a bus, simply because of his appearance, he was thrown into a world he did not know. He was asked to become a musician, but according to his own admissions in early documentaries, he had no background in singing and had never danced professionally. This was the first great wall he had to climb. Imagine the psychological weight of entering a training room where everyone else seems to speak a language you do not know. Jin was surrounded by members who were natural dancers and rappers with years of underground experience. In various interviews and documentary footage from their rookie days, the difference in skill level was palpable. Jin has spoken about the immense pressure he felt during the trainee years. While others perfected their craft, he had to learn how to use his voice and his body from zero. It was not just physically exhausting. It was a battle against the voice in his head that whispered he did not belong there. The struggle did not end with their debut. In the early years of BTS, when the group faced financial difficulties and public criticism, Jin carried a silent burden. As the oldest member, or Mathyung, Korean culture placed a heavy expectation on him to lead and protect the younger ones. Yet, professionally, he often felt like he was lagging behind. Fans and critics alike noticed that he was often placed in the back of dance formations and given fewer lines in songs. For a young man seeking his identity, this could have been crushing. He did not complain publicly. Instead, media reports and fan accounts from those early days describe a young man who stayed behind in the practice room long after the lights went out, repeating the same moves hundreds of times until his body ached, just to ensure he would not be a burden to the team. There was a profound moment of vulnerability that gave the world a glimpse into his internal battle. It came through his solo track, Awake. In the lyrics, Jin wrote about how he might not be able to fly like the flower petals, referring to the other members. He sang about simply wanting to run a little more, despite the fear. This was not just a performance. It was a confession. He was admitting to the world, and perhaps to himself, that he felt less talented than his brothers. He was confronting his own limitations with a heartbreaking honesty that resonated with anyone who has ever felt not good enough. The physical toll was immense, but the mental battle was even harder. There is a specific moment that remains etched in the memory of the fandom. During the 2018 MOMA Awards, a time when BTS was achieving global superstardom, Jin stood before the microphone with tears in his eyes. He revealed a shocking truth that verified just how close they had come to the edge. Jin confessed that earlier that year, the mental pressure was so severe that the group had gathered together and seriously discussed disbanding. They were at the height of their fame, yet inside, they were crumbling. It was Jin, the one who always laughed, who bravely voiced this pain. It showed that the man who usually deflected sadness with humor was actually absorbing the deepest anxieties of the group. Even after conquering the world, the shadow of self-doubt did not vanish. In 2020, just before his birthday, Jin released a song titled Abyss. In a letter accompanying the song, He opened up about experiencing severe burnout. At a time when BTS reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, instead of feeling joy, Jin felt fear. He questioned if he deserved such honor. He wondered if he was truly capable of handling such success when there were so many others who loved music more than he did. This is the paradox of Kim Seok-jin. He reached the summit of the mountain, yet he looked down and wondered if he had climbed the wrong peak. It was a rare, raw admission of imposter syndrome that showed his profound humility and his fragile human heart. So, how did he survive? How did he turn this fear into the strength we see today? The answer lies in his quiet resilience and his definition of love. Jin realized that he did not need to be the best dancer or the fastest rapper to be essential. He chose to be the stability. He became the emotional anchor for the group. Verified accounts from the members themselves reveal that Jin used his own money in the early days to buy food for the younger members when their budget was tight. He drove them to school. He cooked for them. He realized that his role was to be the caretaker. When fans ask why Jin is so beloved, it is not just because of his face or his voice, which is now critically acclaimed as the silver voice for its stability and emotional range. It is because of his kindness. He uses humor as a shield, not for himself, but for others. When the atmosphere becomes too heavy or serious, Jin will make a dad joke or embarrass himself intentionally. He sacrifices his own image to make the younger members laugh and relax. He absorbs the tension so they don't have to. This is a form of silent leadership that is rare and deeply masculine in its protectiveness. His journey of self-acceptance reached a climax with the song Epiphany. Standing on stadiums across the world, singing to tens of thousands, Jin declared that the one he should love in this world is himself. It was no longer a sad confession like, "Awake." It was a declaration of victory. He had accepted his flaws, his struggles, and his unique pace. He taught millions of people that you do not have to be perfect to be worthy of love. You just have to be you. Even when duty called for his mandatory military service, a time of uncertainty for any idol, Jin faced it with the same quiet dignity. He did not seek special treatment. Reports confirmed that he excelled in his training, becoming an assistant instructor, a position reserved for soldiers who demonstrate exemplary discipline and leadership. He faced the harsh winters and the physical demands without complaint, proving once again that the boy who struggled to dance had become a man of iron will. Now, as he steps into the next chapter of his career, Jin stands tall. He is no longer the nervous boy from the bus. He is a global icon who has dined with presidents and spoken at the United Nations. But his dream, as he has mentioned in various interviews, remains incredibly simple and human. He wants to be happy. He wants to continue performing for the fans who waited for him. He wants to live a life where he can smile without the weight of anxiety. Kim Seok-jin's story is not a fairy tale of effortless talent. It is a documentary of human endurance. It is the story of a person who was terrified of falling but decided to jump anyway. He showed us that confidence is not the absence of fear, but the decision to smile through it. He taught us that sometimes, the hardest work is not moving your body, but convincing your heart that you are enough. As the lights fade and the music stops, we are left with the image of a man standing center stage, blowing a kiss to the crowd. But now, we see the trembling hand that practiced for years to become steady. We see the tears he swallowed to be the strong brother. We see the years of silent climbing. And in that silence, we do not just feel admiration. We feel a profound, quiet respect for the beautiful, ordinary, and extraordinary human being that is Jin.